on, dogs! Come on, dogs! Hey guys, this is Josh, Stoney Ridge Farmer. Welcome to part 2 of the John Deere 750. Let's go in here. So if you'll remember in part 1, which is right here, you may want to watch that first if you haven't seen it already, our John Deere 750 would run for about 15 minutes and then it would blah, 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 and die. So how frustrating can that be? We just did everything right. We just serviced it. We just made it supposedly run perfect. It ran perfect for like 15 minutes and then blah, 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 just died. Well, we figured out what the problem was, and we've also got some more tires, some new tires for this thing. So I wanted to sell it. I wanted to sell it right. So it already had one new tire and it was on backwards. So we got another new tire and we swapped them all around, and we got some good used tires for the front. They look like brand new. Anyhow, we're gonna slap these tires on and I'll show you what the problem was with the tractor. This is part 2 of the to be continued. All right, woo! Stoney Ridge, Farm, Stoney Ridge, Stoney Ridge Farm. Woo! All right. So we lucked up when we went to the tire store. The guy that owns the tire store had a set of agricultural tires, was the exact same size that fit this tractor. If you'll remember in the previous video, the tires that were on this tractor were all dry rotted and cracked and were just a mess. So we got new tubes and new tires for the front of the tractor. We're gonna go ahead and get those mounted up. And you know, tractor tires are pretty darn heavy. I don't know if you guys have worked with a lot of farm equipment or a lot of tractor stuff, but it seems that the pretty much universal standard is a lug stud versus a lug nut. So we'll get our lug studs in here, and I've got my Crocs on, so in case I drop a tire on my foot, I can crush it instead of being smart and wearing my steel toes. I think we're gonna change shoes before we get to the big tire. We'll go ahead and get our lug stud started up front here, and we've got it sitting up on the jack. We'll lower the jack and we'll go back to the rear and we'll put that monster rear tire on. I'm going to say that rear tire weighs in the neighborhood of 200 pounds and it's not loaded. In other words, it doesn't have any kind of fluid in it. Such a small tractor like this probably doesn't need to have loaded tires. If you guys have an opinion about that, leave it down in the video description. We're going to go around the other side of the tractor as soon as we get this wheel on, and we'll discuss what the issue was with fuel delivery. It was a fuel delivery issue here on the tractor. I've drained the fuel tank, but inside the fuel tank, I guess diesel fuel can get this muck in it. And I don't know what kind of muck you call it or exactly what you call it, but it can get this slime buildup inside the tank. So when we drained it, a lot of it came out, but not all of it came out. So the new fuel filter that we put on that cost 17 bucks clogged up in about 15 minutes. Not cool. So I'll show you what we're doing. We've got a little system worked out until we can get all that trash out, and then we'll pass it on to the new owner. I've been mowing around just to make sure everything works good and trying to kick all that trash out, and I'll show you the new little filter system here as soon as we get done mounting these tires up. Alright, we'll get front tire number 2 on, and I've been mowing with this tractor so it's covered with dust and dirt now, and we're going to go ahead and we'll pressure wash the tractor off before we put it on Craigslist to sell. I think price wise, I've done the research on these tractors. I haven't found one below $5,500. Initially I thought about pricing it somewhere in the $5,000 range, $49,995. And I think that's what we're going to do. I think the least we're going to take for this tractor is going to be $4,500. I think I was shooting a little too high at $5,500, but I think $4,500 with the little bush hog. It's got a 4-foot bush hog. I think that's probably a pretty good deal. So make somebody a good little tractor for a little small plot of land. Somebody that has 5-10 acres, something like that. Be a great little tractor, great little garden tractor. If Mrs. Stoney Ridge would let me keep them, I'd keep them all. But that ain't happening, buddy. Drop her down. Nice and gentle. Okay, let's talk about this fuel system issue. So we took it loose right here and we drained the fuel out. Well, we also took this line that used to go here, we took it loose. And this is an aftermarket fuel filter system right here, okay? And it has a little drain underneath there. We'll drain that out here in just a second and show you what's in there. Basically what we did is we took some of these lawnmower filters and put them in line, and that way I could watch. You can see that one's really crusty, so we'll go ahead and change that before we get started here, before we run the tractor. But what was happening was this thing would cut off the fuel supply and it would starve for fuel and it would die, and that's what you were seeing in the last video. It was just starving for fuel. So let's open this guy up and see what it looks like inside there. We'll see what kind of yucky mess is coming out of here, and what we'll do is we'll go ahead and we'll cap this off really good. That way the next owner can just unscrew this filter and go ahead and hook this system back up once all that muck has gotten out of the fuel system, okay? It has all brand new fuel in there, and it's still just spitting out, I don't know, you can see it in there. When we drain this into a jar, you'll really be able to see what the muck looks like. I don't know, guys, you tell me. Ask Chuck 2009 to come over here and tell me what makes diesel fuel get slime in it. What is it? Is it a bacteria? I'm not really sure. There's no more water in this tank. I've emptied the tank completely out, even wiped out a little bit inside of it, and I saw no sign or symptom of muck at all, but it's still releasing stuff. So we put a fuel additive in there that's supposed to eat that stuff up. I don't know. Keep your fingers crossed for me. When we sell the tractor, we're going to sell it with about 5 extra little filters like this, and that way the next owner can just change those filters until all that muck settles out of this gas tank. And the gas tank's really small too. It's, I'm going to say, in the neighborhood of 7 gallons. So let's drain this fuel filter out into a jar and show you what's in it. All right, I got an old mayonnaise jar from the 70s. And we'll loosen this little guy up and see what drains out of this fuel filter. See what's causing our clog. Maybe we will. There we go. Looks like pretty darn good clean diesel. To me, it looks like clean, brand new diesel. There's not a speck of trash in this anywhere. Now, I don't know. There's clearly some slimy trash in this filter. There's clearly a restrictive situation going on because it keeps starving for fuel. Now, once I put the little filters on, no more starving for fuel until I can see in this little eye right here, that little eye, when I see that getting dirty, it starts starving for fuel again. So let's change that guy out. I've got some brand new ones. I went to the parts store and got some great old big ones. We'll get that guy changed out and we'll throw this other tire on and we'll let it run for a little bit and see if we can kick out some more slime. I'm just gonna keep running this tractor until it's right. I don't wanna sell it to somebody and not have it right. I want to make it good, and that way they don't think I'm a crook and they don't come back knocking on my door thinking, hey, you screwed me on the tractor. I also don't want to depend on the fact that hopefully the person that buys the tractor is a mechanically minded person. Hopefully all this problem solves itself. Alright guys, so we've got to get this big tire on. In order to get this big tire on, I can't pick it up on my own. I can wrestle with it and hurt my back, and that'd be really fun, but I think we'll skip that. And what we'll do, I didn't even have a socket big enough to fit in an impact, but this is a 27 millimeter. I've lowered the jack down. This is the handle on the jack. I've lowered it down to where I could get the first bolt started, and then we've got the tire just about mounted up. Now what I'll do is I'll pump the jack just a little bit, get that tire up off the ground, and then we'll get it centered. Now I'm going to do a lug pattern of crisscross when I tighten it. It's a 6 lug pattern, so I'll crisscross across it. Might not be necessary for a tractor, but definitely necessary for a car. Let me show you. So there's a little hub right here. When you're running lug studs, you really have to line it up, sit it up on that hub, and then you can see that wheel walking in that way. There we go. We'll get one tight. Not real tight at first. We'll just start and get a crisscross, and now we can go on and tighten them nice and snug. I know, all you serious tractor guys would be thinking right now, you need to get the specs on that and tighten it down to the right specs with your torque wrench. Nah, I'm not gonna do that. This thing isn't gonna go over like 15 miles an hour, so it'll be all right. Always keep a check on your lug nuts on your tractor anyway. Make sure they're all nice and snug. Got our tire on the right way. We're gonna lower the tractor and I'll take you over here and we'll change this fuel filter out. I'm glad we found the problem. Let's get over here and change this fuel filter. All right, so on this filter is an arrow that says flow, okay? So flow is that way. We're gonna go ahead and we'll disconnect this guy. We're gonna put our Yuck bucket underneath here to catch any diesel fuel that might spill, and then we'll hook it back up. All right, we've got our crusty, trusty Klein 11-in-1 screwdriver. We'll get this guy apart. If you don't have one of those screwdrivers, you just ain't living right. I'm gonna tell you that right now. Got plenty of flow, as you can tell. Even though that filter is clogged up with muck, still got plenty of flow. We're just gonna slip this guy back together. I'm actually gonna take this fuel line off just for a second to let this thing kind of fill up with fuel. I'm gonna hold this one upright a little bit and let this guy kind of fill up with a little bit of diesel fuel. There we go, until we get kicking out. What's a day without diesel fuel? I've got a window to the world of fuel tank slime, and I can watch this, and whenever it starts getting clogged, I'll just change it out again, and we'll keep changing until we kick all that slime out. I'd imagine it'd take about 1 full tank of fuel to get all that slime out, and hopefully the additive I put in the fuel will help and break that stuff down and turn it into something that the engine can digest. All right. I'm too big for the tractor. Now none of this matters at all if the tractor won't fire right up, so that's the biggest selling point when you're getting ready to try to sell a tractor is, does it start? Here we go. Guys, thanks a lot for watching this part 2 of the To Be Continued series on the 750 John Deere tractor. I'm gonna rinse it off, clean it up. It's ready to sell, and I feel pretty confident it's going to do a great job for somebody. Next tractor we're going to work on is right over here. I'll show you. It's the 1720, the Ford 1720. We'll pull it in here and get it serviced and check out what all the fluids look like in it, and hopefully lessons learned. I already put a fuel additive in it to help break down any slime that might be in that fuel tank too. So thanks a lot, guys. We'll see you next time on the Stoney Ridge Farm. I appreciate you. Pound that like button, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you next time. All right? Woo!